Okay, what are you saying, people, and welcome back to my channel. Now today, like always guys, I've got another weekly analysis for you guys. So on the screen other pairs we'll be analyzing today, but make sure you stay to the end of the video because I will be going into depth analysis about what's happened during this week's trading week and potentially what could be happening during next week's trading week as well. So make sure you stay to the end of the video for all of that, guys. But with all that said, let's just get straight into it. Okay, so first up we've got Euro USD. So for this pair, a lot of upside momentum as you can see this week. We were looking for those sales this week, a nice bearish bias that we had, because again the overall structure was to the downside for Euro USD, still technically is, but we might be having a reversal. I'll speak on that in a second, but we were looking for some selling opportunities here. First level of interest here, 1.18. Market stalled a little bit but broke through quite easily on Monday, used it as support and continued to the upside. So overall not much indication of price turning around there, and neither are our second target either, or second area of interest either. Nice reaction there, not much momentum to the downside, and we eventually just broke through that level quite easily as well. So Euro USD this week was very bullish, as you can see, very strong uptrend there to the upside. And again, with all that momentum, we might be going for a reversal here, because a very strong momentum there. Might be looking at some retrace and potentially continue to the upside, and especially with the DXY as well looking quite bearish. If the DXY does continue to the fall, Euro USD is probably going to move to the upside as well. So potential reversal could be on the cards, not just yet though. We do need to take out this key level of resistance for that to happen. Once we take out that level, the reversal will be very likely. So Euro USD still hanging on to this level there, as you can see with that wick on the daily, looking for selling opportunities here. We'll wait for it to turn bearish, look for double top, head and shoulders, and I will short it to the downside back down to this level here, 1.18. Then I will be looking to exit that position and look to see if we can get some buys here to the upside, because like I said, potentially you might be turning bullish, so I do want to get involved if that is the case. So we'll be looking for sales from this level here to take it back down into 1.18. We'll exit my position and then look for bulls. We'll look for buying opportunities to take that to the upside if we can get that bullish momentum. If we do take out this level, then we'll probably head back down to these lows. So now I'll switch back to bearish and look to see if we can get into some nice swings to the downside from there, break and retest, something like that on a lower high. But yeah, we'll be looking for buying opportunities from this level here to take it back up again, and selling opportunities from there. So do have that bearish bias coming into the week now, but it could turn bullish, like I said, if you do take out this level here, 1.19. If you take out that level, we'll wait for that break and retest on that and ride it to the upside. But for now, we are respecting that resistance here, 1.19. So we'll be looking for selling opportunities for Euro USD to start the week off, to take that back down to 1.18. Then if you can hold that, turn bullish, we'll be looking for buys back up to 1.19 up there. Okay, so now on my screen I've got USD JPY. So for this pair, a little bit messy this week, pretty much just moving sideways, hasn't really gone anywhere since last week or the week before that pretty much. We were looking for selling opportunities. We still do have that bearish bias, and coming into this week I still do have that bearish bias as well, looking for a push back down to 108,700. Last week we were looking at two opportunities for ourselves. Another retest of this area, which we did get a retest, a fake out there as well. As you can see, we came up, faked out, came back down as well, very aggressive. So nice a fake out there, but at a key level as well. And also looking for a break and retest of this, which still hasn't happened yet, because we haven't broken through the level. So I still stand with that bearish bias, and I do think we can still fall to the downside back down to these lows. So still will be looking for that break and retest option there, because again it is a little bit messy here. Is price is essentially just moving sideways, so can wait for the breakout and the retest here to get a bit more clarity, and then look to short it back down into those lows there, 108,700. Or if we do have one more spike to the upside, can again look for those selling opportunities back at this resistance. We have tested it multiple times now, 1, 2, 3, almost a fourth there as well. So I'm not too overly confident expecting to see USD JPY make another move back to that resistance. It can do if it wants to, but I wouldn't expect it to do that after really testing it, you know, almost 4 times now. I would expect to see the move start to happen to the downside this week. We were building up, waiting for price to relieve itself in that move to the downside. So I'm expecting to see a nice breakout this week for USD JPY, and again, that break and retest can look good, but if we do have another drive to the upside again for another time, again, same again as last week and the week before, waiting to see that bearish reaction, getting in on those sells, and then targets all the way down there. So more downside for USD JPY back down to 108,700. And now we're going to move on to USD CAD. So for this pair, we did see more downside this week. Pretty much did consolidate for half of the week, and then we broke to the downside towards the end. We did have that bullish bias coming into USD CAD this week. We were looking at 2 areas in the market, this being 1.26, and also this one here as well, 1.25. So as you can see, we did break through 1.26. We were just consolidating throughout the week there, broke to the downside, very strong bearish candle there, and that continued to the downside as well, testing our second level. So USD CAD, I think potentially we might be turning bearish for this pair. We have broken through this trend line here as well. So if I do draw that in now on the daily, connecting these wicks here, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th test there, broke through it. So if we can stay below that trend line, I think we might be turning bearish here for USD CAD. I did have that bullish bias, but now we've broken through that trend line. So looking for a drive to the upside, because this is a key level for USD CAD. As you can see, 1, 2, and also a massive move to the upside from this support. So I'm expecting to see some type of pullback here for USD CAD from this area. So again, looking for buys from here back up to this area here. Not going to be too aggressive, just to look for a swing back into this area, 1.26. or actually a little bit below, maybe 1.25800, this level here, just to retest that that support and that resistance. And then from here, I think we'll be looking for sells if we do get that price action to take this back down into that same level, and actually a little bit further back down to if I just zoom out here, back down into these lows here, which originally I was looking for price to come into when we were trading over here, but we failed to break through that support. Now I do think we can come back into that level now this week. So, well, maybe not this week, because we might still, you know, hold on to that level, but I do think USD CAD could be coming back into this level here. So USD CAD, I'm expecting a slight pullback because we've had that aggressive push. Now I'm expecting a pullback to the upside. Then from here, 1.25800, we'll be looking for sales to take that back down to the downside. So these are the 2 opportunities we'll be looking at for next week. Buys from here, again, we're already at that level already, so again, monitor the price action there, and if you do see some nice higher lows forming, nice double bottom, something like that, can get involved in some sells. And then if you do come back to retest this area, look bearish, show some nice rejection, and we could get involved in some sells, taking this back down again. Again, first target will be the support, because obviously very strong area, but if you do break through that, which I think we will do, back down to these lows here on 1.24 300. So looking for sells, overall for USD CAD, because I do think we might be seeing that reversal happen. Again, looking at the DXY as well, looks like potentially might be having a reversal to the downside as well, but looking for temporary buys to the upside back up to that level, and sells right back down again.
Sorry to interrupt the video, guys, but if you are enjoying the content and you find it useful, make sure you go hit the subscribe button down below, and also make sure you drop a like as well. It really does help the channel out. But anyway, back to the video.
Okay, so up next we've got Euro Pound. So as you can see for this pair, not much happened this week, pretty much just moving sideways. Did see a brief move to the upside. Again, we do have that bias to the upside for Euro Pound, expecting a larger breakout, still above our trend line here, which price did break out previously before. False breakout, now expecting the actual breakout to be happening. So we do have that bullish bias long term for Euro Pound. But as you can see, it did fail, and we are pushing to the downside. So we are expecting more upside for Euro Pound in the coming days / weeks, but we could be seeing a little bit more downside first. Again, like I said last week, was looking for a retest of this level here last week. As you can see, we didn't really have that. We found support higher up, pushed the upside. So I think now we could be coming back to retest that area, and this is also like around the 50% point of this impulse. So we'll be looking for a push back down to this area to look for buys, but there could also be some temporary and some short-term selling opportunities for Euro Pound as well, especially with this price action. If we do have another pullback to the upside, can look for some sells sells, take it back down to these area, and then from here can look to buy it back up again. So whichever way you're looking to trade, for me, I'm expecting more upside for euro pound over the next coming days and weeks. So if I do get into any shorts from here, it will be short term, quick trades there. Then could we look to hold on to this trade a little bit longer, be a bit more aggressive, because I do expect to see that uptrend really start to kick in soon. So euro pound, expecting some short term sales from this level here if we do come back and retrace to this level, because we don't have to. You know, we could just continue some momentum to the downside, but if it does, can look for some short-term sells, and in that case as well, if we do come back down to this level, which I think we can do, so buys will be looking good. Stops below that level, again, make sure you wait for price action to get those confirmations. Then we can look to set buy it back up into that resistance, and maybe even further as well. But looking for sales from this level to start the week off, and then we'll be turning our bias to bullish, looking for buys around the 0.5300 level to take that back to the upside. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to AUD USD. So for this pair, again, another USD pair, we had a massive move to the upside for AU. A lot of bullish momentum here, taking out some key levels with it as well. So again, last week we did have that bearish bias coming into the week, looking for selling opportunities. Was focusing on this level here mainly, also this level up here as well. Just looking for that break and retest of this level here. But as you can see, not much there. We had a slight reaction earlier in the week, but besides that, the market broke through that level quite easily and broke through that level even easier there as well. So it's definitely important to wait for that price action to come through first to look to enter your trade. It's all good having those levels to choose from, but again, price action is definitely very important as well. So as you can see, price is still looking very bullish, breaking through those key levels. Now I think AU could be in for a potential reversal here to the upside, and see a lot more upside in the next coming days and weeks. So I do expect to see some downside now for AU, simply because the market does need to take a breather. I'm not expecting the market to come back down to all these lows here, back down to 0.71, but I do expect to see some type of breather had for AUSD, and then potentially the market will probably continue to the upside after it's taking that retracement to the downside. So we do have this level here just underneath 0.75, nice resistance there where we tested it a few times before collapsing to the downside, and now we're coming back into that same area. So hopefully you can see a little bit more upside for AU, and after that, if you can have a nice reaction there, nice double top, head and shoulder, something like that, can look to get short and take this to the downside. Now we'll be looking at two potential areas, this being one nice resistance there, and also psychological level 0.74, and also this support here as well, which basically were the two, well, apart from that one, this was definitely an area that we were looking to sell from last week, and now we're looking to buy from it this week. So first up, looking for those sells for AU, because it is definitely overextended. I do think we do need to see that retracement back to the downside. So we'll be looking at this level here, 0.75, as our first place to look for some shorts. And then we'll be looking to ride that down to the downside, back down to this area here first. And if you can break through that, then that area there to the downside. And like I said, we'll be looking for those buys because we potentially are in a reversal here for AU. So again, this area here, we'll be looking for buys at, probably the best area because the risk to reward is a lot greater. And also this level here as well, because it was resistance and now will be turned support as well. So it depends which way price wants to go, if it's going to hold this level and break to hit that level, or just going to bounce straight away from that level. And again, to find that out, all we have to do is monitor price action. So first up, looking for sales for AU from this level here to the downside, then we'll be looking for buys from this level and that level here to take it to the upside. Yeah, potentially going to test some of these wicks up here. So I think more upside could be coming up for AU in the next coming days and weeks, especially with that DXY looking quite weak now. You know, AU could really be pushing to the upside in the near future. But right now, looking for those sales first up to take that to the downside, back down to 0.74, and if you can break through that around the 0.73300 mark, then we'll be looking for buys from one of these two levels, depending which level holds and which level gives us the necessary price action. And now we're going to move on to NZD CAD. So for this pair, massive move to the upside this week, which was expected. I did say last week that we do expect to see now a breakout to the upside. coming into this level here. Again, a really key level of support and resistance. If I just take that across, you can see resistance there, massive move to the downside, support, big move to the upside as well, resistance as well, a little bit of a fake up there as well. So very key area which I'm expecting prices to go and hit, which it hasn't quite hit yet. So I do suspect a little bit more upside for NZD CAD coming into the start of the week, but we were looking for those buying opportunities. Last week I was talking about this level here, which price, as you can see, didn't really come close to come retesting here, came pull back that much before just continuing to the upside. So that level was not retested there, and I was also looking at a break and retest of this key level here, which was keeping us moving sideways, which we did finally get a close above. But as you can see, if I go back in the 4H, we never got that retest either. So price didn't really retest any of our levels. We were right in the direction, but again, price was just too bullish to have that necessary retracement. So I'm expecting, like I said, I'm expecting a little bit more upside to come and hit that level there. But I do think there'll be some nice short-term sells, because I think we could potentially be going through a reversal now for NZD CAD. We've had a massive dump to the downside. Now we've had this consolidation phase here right at the bottom. I think now we're going to get that breakout to the upside, and we could be taking out a lot of these levels to the upside over the next few days. So well, not a few days and weeks really. So I'm expecting more upside long term for NZD CAD, but for now I think some short-term downside does look good coming back into the level there, especially since we didn't really have much retracement as we've been moving up. So I think price will probably come into this level, take a bit of a breather, maybe halfway, or maybe even come back and retest this area, and then see some upside and continue to the upside there. So we'll be looking for shorts for NZD CAD, but then once we do turn bullish, we'll be looking for longs again. Targets will be this area here and that area down there as well. So just depends when we do turn bullish here. We'll be looking for sells from around this area there. Again, targets will be this area first and then that area second, but then again we'll be looking for longs from this area. So if you are in shorts coming back down to that area and price starts to show some signs of reversal, can look to exit and then switch your bias to bullish and look for those buys, because again I do think NZD CAD is moving up. So I do think the buys will be a lot better trades than the sells, and you can look to hold into those trades a lot longer as well. And if we do go and break through that level, can look for some buys back down here as well. I'm not too sure if we will come back and retest this level. We obviously could, never say never in the markets, but I just don't see the market retracing that far. But if it does, again, look for those buying opportunities, because this is a really nice strong level of resistance which has not been retested as support. And if it does, and we do see some nice reactions there, this could be a really nice swing trade to the upside there. So NZD CAD first looking for shorts at this level here, just underneath the 0.9 mark, back down to 0.89 100 here. And if we do have a strong reaction, we'll look for buys. If not, we'll be looking at this second level here, 0.88 500. So overall bias for NZD CAD is to the outside. Expect some short-term sells to look for some long-term buys. And now on my screen I've got pound NZD. So for this pair, really nice move to the downside this week, which was expected. We were looking for that breakout out of this consolidation here for pound NZD to the downside. We did see a nice bearish candle last week, just before the week close. So we were expecting that retest of this trend line, which you did get quite early on there, so might have missed that, and then had a nice continuation to the downside there. So pound NZD did exactly what we did expect for last week. As you can see, nice retracement, the retest there, and the continuation. And also hit our target as well, which was this support here. So I'm expecting more downside overall for pound NZD in the longer term, because if you do look at the higher time frames, the weekly, we are looking like we are rolling over to the downside. So I can see some more downside for pound NZD in the near future. I'm looking at this move to this area of support here around 1.92, nice psychological level there as well. So I'm looking for sells next week for pound NZD. We are quite bearish now, so we might go through some retracement, but I will be looking to sell the market regardless, because I still do see more downside for this pair. So we do have a nice key level of support resistance going through the market here, just underneath 1.95. So if I go in the 4H and just scroll across, you can see acting as really nice support, resistance, support there as well, resistance across there. So it's a really nice level, which if the market does come back into retest, start holding at that as resistance, maybe a nice double top, can look for sales to take it back down to that 1.92 level, because that is where I do see price going. If we do go and break through that, that's perfectly fine, because we'll be looking at this level just above it as well. Nice support there on the daily, will now be turning resistance. So if we do come back and break through that level, we'll be looking at this level here again, more sales to the downside. So overall, pound NZD is still looking quite bearish here. It looks like we finally had that breakout. Now I'm looking for price to take a little bit of a breather, either at one of those two levels, and then see the continuation to the downside. So for next week, looking for sales, we might see some temporary buys. You can look for some temporary buys here, but just know the momentum is definitely with the bears there. So I personally would rather look for sales than buys, and I think the market still does have a little bit more mileage to the downside anyway. So looking for that retracement to come through, and then yeah, we'll be looking to short this market all the way back down to 1.92, which is all the way down there. Okay, so up next we've got pound USD. So for this pair, as you can see, a bit choppy this market this week, but we did see some upside. We did have that bearish bias coming into this week, looking for those selling opportunities. Again, this was our first area, and our second area was up here. First area, price broke through it quite easily, held it as support, and then continued to the upside there. However, second area, as you can see, nice strong reaction, and again a slight false breakout, but again we're having a reaction there. So I think if you can hold into this area early next week, there will be some nice selling opportunities, and again we'll be looking at this level here around the 86,600 mark. So if you can hold that as resistance, we'll be looking at a push down to that level there, probably take partials at that level because it is strong support now. But essentially looking for shorts back down to 86,600. If we do go and break through this level, then we'll be looking at this resistance just above it here, where we kind of had price respect it a couple times, 1, 2, and looking for that sell-off opportunity again right back down to 86,600, because this price action here is giving us information saying that we're failing to really push on, and it is due, and we are due a bit of a breather. Again, I'm not saying price is going to come all the way down to these lows here, because we know we have seen a lot of bullish momentum, but I do think we can see a breather back down to this area here, 86,600. So looking for sales next week for CAD JPY from the level that we're currently trading at right now, 87,600. If we can hold into that, great. We'll be looking at selling that market early next week. Again, stops above those highs there, targeting that low there. Or if we decide to go and break through, that's perfectly fine as well. Our risk reward will be a lot better if that happens as well. Stops above that high, again wait for those confirmations, and then ride it back down to 86,600. Either which way, we're looking at sales back down to those lows, either at this level, or if we break through that at this level here for next week. Okay, so next up we've got pound USD. So for this pair, again another USD pair with a nice move to the upside. A lot of momentum there, especially with that US dollar weakness. We did have that bearish bias for this pair this week, was looking for those selling opportunities. Our first area of interest was this level here. As you can see, we were kind of flirting with the idea of respecting this level, kind of breaking above, coming back below, breaking above, coming back below, and eventually we did break through, retest that support, and continue to the upside. So that level did not hold there, but we're coming into this second level here, which was our second level of interest if potentially price was to retrace into this level. And as you can see, we actually have and actually had already a nice reaction there. So if we can keep that up coming into next week, and we just don't go and break through it early on next week, if you can hold this, we'll be looking for selling opportunities at this level here around the 1.38700 mark, right back down into this area here. Prior resistance now will be acting as support. So looking for those selling opportunities early on for pound USD back down to this area here. And like I said, we do have that inclination that potentially these USD pairs could be continuing their way to the upside if we do see DXY continue with that bearish momentum that we saw over the past couple of weeks. So if that is the case, I will be looking for buys from this level here to take it back up again, if we can get some nice buying confirmations there. If not, and we just decide to break right through, then we'll be looking for a retracement and get right back into those sells, because we definitely could be ending up back at these lows here. So pound USD, looking for buys here if we can hold it, but essentially looking for sales at that level which we are trading right now. So looking for those sales if we can keep up that price action, which hopefully we can do early next week. Looking for those sales right back down into that level there, and then again we'll be looking for buys to take it back to the upside if we do carry on that weakness with the dollar. And we'll be looking for a push right back into that resistance, of course, because we would have respected that, having that resistance there. But if we can break through that, we can go a lot higher with that. So looking for sales to start the week back down to 1.37800. Then from that level, if we can hold a support, we'll be looking at buys back into that key level, then much further if we can break through that. And now let's move on to pound CAD. So this pair, again, another pair that kind of is consolidating here. I do expect to see it break to the downside, but we are essentially moving sideways here for pound CAD. So do take a little bit of caution trading this pair, because it could just continue that again next week. Pretty much this week we have moved sideways, but I still do anticipate a breakout to the downside here for pound CAD. We still do have our key level here on the H4 in place, where I was looking for another retest of this area this week. As you can see, we have pushed into this area a few times there, twice, and had some nice reactions. So we are holding that area, and I'm still expecting to see a breakout to the downside back down to this area here, 1.72. We were also looking at some hourly opportunities there, but the main level we were looking at was this level here, which is still holding. So for next week, if we do have another drive back into this area here again, probably not expecting it to do that, but if it does do that, look for those selling opportunities again coming into next week. And again, looking for those sells, anticipating finding that breakout to the downside, or you can be a bit more cautious and wait for the break of this low here. So if I just draw that level in, so wait for the breakout of that level there and wait for the retest of it, and then look for those sells, just because price might just continue to move sideways again coming into next week. So can wait for the breakout and the retest. Again, the retest doesn't always happen, but if it does happen, great, can to sell that back down again, or look for sells up there as well. In terms of risk to reward, that trade will be a really nice one as well. So again, wait for that price action and then look to trade the pair. But for me, that bias is firmly to the downside. If it does take out this resistance here, I might probably change my bias, expecting price to probably break to the upside actually, if it does take out that resistance, as long as it's just an actual breakout, not a false breakout. But if it does take out that resistance, I'll probably change my bias. So for this week, I'm bearish on pound CAD as long as that level holds. So if it does drive back into that level, look for those sells, or if it does have that break and retest, look for those sells again and write it back down to 1.72 down there. Okay, so now we're going to move on to pound JPY. So this pair, we did see some upside this week. Again, last week we did have that bearish bias coming into this week. We were focusing on two levels mainly, which is this area here of support and resistance, which price actually did break through there, and also this area here, which price hasn't actually tested yet. So still, if price does move up to there, still will be looking for sales coming into next week. But as you can see, we have broken through this first area, which we had kind of 1, 2, 3 test of before price actually broke it through that, used it as support, and then continued to the upside there. So pound JPY is still quite bullish with the immediate price action, but if you do jump to the higher time frames, you can see we do have that bearish structure involved there. So we can still pull back, retest this area, and still dump to the downside. But again, not going to be too aggressive here with pound JPY. So I'm looking at two potential opportunities here for pound JPY. A short-term long opportunity could be looking good here if we do come back, hold this area as support, and do have another swing to the upside back into this area here. And again, we'll be looking for sales to take this back down again to the downside, because I do have that long-term but that bearish bias for pound JPY unless certain levels get taken out. But as of now, I still do expect to see pound JPY fall to the downside. But for now, we are looking a little bit bullish here for this pair. So if we do come back, respect this area of support, buyers will be looking good back up into that resistance, and the same thing there. If we do see some nice sell opportunities, some nice confirmation, kind of to sell it back down back into that support. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for pound JPY, kind of trading this range. We well could sell from this area, break through that support, and if we do that, kind of to target this area here. As you can see, nice sell off there to the downside before we did start this uptrend there. So it does have a really nice area of support there we can look to target as well. But like I said, don't want to be too aggressive with these sells, just because the immediate price action is bullish and it could turn bullish and continue a lot further until these highs here potentially, or maybe even further as well. So do have to take that into account. But some temporary buys could be looking good here. When I mean temporary, I mean short term as well. So don't want to hold on to those trades for too long, because the market could turn bearish quite quickly. So some short-term buys here from around the 1500 level back up to this resistance, and then again, if we do see some nice confirmation, sell it right back down into that same level. And if you want to be, hold that trade on for a little bit longer, you could probably look at this area here, 150, 500 there as well. But I still do expect to see a dump to the downside for pound JPY come into next week, but some short-term buys could be looking good to start the week off. Okay, so I'm going to move on to gold. So for this pair, nice move to the upside right at the end of the week there with NFP. But besides from that, pretty much nothing really all week for gold, just moving sideways. A few wicks either side, but nothing really special there happening for gold this week, mainly just consolidation. So gold last week, we were looking for selling and buying opportunities. It depends whichever price was going to come retest that resistance or retest that support first. As you can see, NFPs came and moved it into that resistance. So we'll be looking for selling opportunities coming into the start of this week to the downside. But again, won't be too aggressive with these sells, because like I said, I do expect to see gold break to the upside out of this resistance and really move to the upside and go and test some daily areas all the way up here. So we do have really nice support, which we did not get a retest at, which I'm expecting price to come and retest around 1870. So I can see a lot more upside for gold in the near future. So like I said, won't be holding on to those sales for too long, just a short-term sell, grab a few pips back down to this support there. Probably won't hold on to it for much longer than that, and we'll be looking for buying opportunities from this support again, taking it into that resistance. And if you can get a break of that resistance, we can really look to swing the trade. Or if we do break through that support and push into this area again, like I said, looking for those buys there as well. So looking for those buys for next week for gold. Some short-term sales will be looking good from this area here, but do wait for price action. Don't just blindly go to sell, because we well could break through this early on next week. Look for that retest and then buy a gold from that. But if you do look like we're holding this level as resistance, some short-term sales will be nice back down to that support. Look to exit and then look for those buys either at this support or that support for next week. Okay, so last up we've got Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, as you can see, not much happened this week, pretty much still moving sideways, but it is potentially breaking through this level here of support, now acting as resistance, getting back above it, and it will be acting as support. If that's the case, I'm expecting more upside back into this 53k level all the way up there. Going the 4H time frame, we were looking for sales from this level here. Nice dump to the downside, again nice dump to the downside. You did get involved with some sales around this area, looking for continuation back down to this support. But as you can see, with our hindsight, you can see we did not break through this support here. We found support, held on to it, and later actually did break to the upside. So those shorts were short-lived, but we are above this area and we were looking for buys as well. I did say if we do break through this level this week, do flip your buys to bullish, and if it holds as support, can look for those longs and target 53k all the way up there. So that's what I'm expecting Bitcoin to go to. That's what I'm targeting Bitcoin back up to 53k if it can hold above this as support. It looks like it's retracing right now, so again looking for those buying opportunities around this area there as well to take it back into that resistance up there. So same thing as last week, just looking for those buys on that retest, wait for that price action to get that confirmation, and look for buys back up to 53k all the way up there.
Okay guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed that and found that useful. Like always, if you have any questions, agree or disagree with my analysis, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll get back to you guys. If you did enjoy the content, why not subscribe to the channel? I do these videos every single week, and I also stream during the weekdays as well, so make sure you go and check that out as well. Hit the bell so you don't miss an upload. But thanks again for watching guys, and until the next one, I'll catch you guys later.